Alright guys, I'm back again with another video, and today I wanted to tell my story of disc resurfacers. So, it doesn't sound that interesting, but it is kind of interesting, to me at least. So, if you're a reseller, especially of video games, at some point you are going to have to buy a disc resurfacer. It's annoying, and they can be very expensive. So this video, I guess you could use it as advice of, I guess, what to do. Just short of it is, don't be cheap. Just pay and get a nice machine if you're intending on doing this for a living. So I want to tell my journey and my experience of buying disc repair machines. So my first one I bought I went back and looked at my Amazon purchases. It was like 2019. So right before COVID, right before the pandemic, I bought a JFJ Easy Pro, as I'm sure most resellers will start out with. That is the machine that is very cheap, very accessible, it's very easy to get started with, very easy to use, and it's cheap. So of course, let's buy it. And I paid like $100 for mine, but now they're a good couple hundred, $250 or so, which I still think is a decent value if you're just getting started. I still don't regret buying this machine. So anyway, my experience with the machine, I bought it, I was all excited, and it did work. I'm not going to say it doesn't work. It does make the discs look better. Although I noticed many discs that didn't work beforehand. The JFJ, it wouldn't really repair discs that didn't work. Like, it was basically, if you had a disc that worked and it looked kind of shitty, you could put it in there and it would make it look better, and you could sell it in good condition rather than acceptable and get a little more for the game. So it was still worth it in that aspect. So I used that machine for a while. I think it was literally like a year after I got it. If you guys know what it looks like, so there's like a door, and that opens up and you put the disc on like a spindle up here, like inside the door. That whole thing broke off. I don't know how. I was just resurfacing a disc, and all of a sudden a giant noise and the whole thing's broken. So I debated repairing it, and to do that I would need to replace the top lid. And at this point, we're well into COVID. It was probably getting close to 2021. So everything's really expensive. JFJs were selling for literally $400 because everyone was getting into reselling. So of course the prices of them went up dramatically. And I decided, you know what, screw this machine. It didn't work that good in the first place. Let's upgrade. So I sold my JFJ for parts for almost $200. So I literally made money on the machine for parts. So I can't complain with it, and it was a good experience to teach me kind of what to expect from disc resurfacers. It's not really magic. You can't really expect too much from them. But yeah, even today for $200, I would still recommend that machine. I mean, they've come down since the peak. They have come down in price a bit. So they're like $200 now. I think for that price, they are fine if you're not doing an insane volume. I broke mine in less than a year, and I wasn't even using it an insane amount, and I took care of it. I cleaned it and everything too, but it still broke. But a lot of people, I don't really hear that happening to many people, so I don't know. Maybe I just had a bad unit. I don't know. But anyway, after that, I bought what I have now, which is a VMI 2500. If you can see it behind me. See that little thing there with the PlayStation logo right here. That is my current machine, and it's been interesting. But before I start talking about that machine, there was another machine that I bought after I bought this one, just because I was at a game store local to me. The owner said, "Hey, we got a new resurfacer. Do you want our old one?" I said, "Sure." How much is it? And he showed it to me. It was an Azura disc. It kind of looked like a toilet. I'll put a picture of it right here. And they were very expensive when they were new, but I did know that the machine was like 20 years old. But he said it works still, and I don't know, they just upgraded. He didn't tell me exactly why they upgraded, but I'll soon tell you why they upgraded. So he's like, "Give me $200 for it." I'm like, okay, fine. I wouldn't mind having a backup one, and I knew that it was a quality machine, and it is. It was very heavy and well built. So I got it home and did some research on it. I'm like, oh, I need to buy pads and these foam things that the disc goes on and all these accessories. Oh, the company's out of business. We can't buy them anymore. Crap. So basically I couldn't buy the supply, so the machine was useless. And I listed it on Marketplace for $200. I tried to get my money back for it. Sat. Lowered it to like 150, and then 100, and then 50, and I got like 20 bucks for it. Yeah, I know. So that was a loss. That really sucked, but whatever. I took a chance on it, and I just figured it would have been nice to have a backup machine, but I see why he sold it to me now. That's another thing I was going to say is definitely do research before you buy a disc resurfacer, because these older machines, I've seen some other ones on eBay too when I was looking, because I don't know, it's kind of fun to look at these things. But yeah, a lot of the machines you can't get supplies for anymore, or they're extremely expensive, the supplies, and it just doesn't make sense. It's like these old printers that people buy. Oh, that's a cheap printer, but then each ink cartridge is $80. So it's like, just buy a newer unit. It's just not worth it to buy the old stuff anymore for that. Unless it's supported still by the company, or the supplies are just cheap on eBay. So anyway, I bought the VMI 2500 because there was the company's Venmill Industries. They had this big silver machine, I forget what it's called, but that one, a lot of the game stores around here have that machine and they love it, and I've heard a lot of good things about the company and blah, 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 blah. And, but I couldn't find much information on this machine. But I just figured, it's $1,000, it was the grand, the machine. It was $1,000. I didn't want to, I was thinking either between that, or I think it's called a Hybrid 2.0, from Elm USA, which I should have bought, but I didn't buy that because it was like a couple thousand. This was half the price, and it was a good company. I'm like, okay, let's do it. So I bought the machine, and I actually quite like it. It resurfaces well. It's tiny, as you can see back there. It's very small. The supplies are reasonable. It does have a timer on it. I forgot to mention that with the JFJ and that Azura disc machine. That's why I wanted them, because you don't have a timer. These machines, as well as the Elm USA machines, they count your minutes, which sucks. It really sucks. You basically are paying to use a machine you already bought. But obviously it is worth it in the long run, but it's just, it really stinks that these companies do this. I mean, I get having to replace the pads after a certain amount of uses, but once the timer runs out, you can't use your machine anymore. You have to buy a new timer. But that is what it is. There's really no avoiding that nowadays. But that is another thing why the JFJ is so great, because there is no timer. You can use it as much as you want. You just wear the pads to the ground and you can buy new ones. You don't have to, you're not timed, I guess, of how much you can use it, which is always good. But yeah, I really liked this machine. It was probably like a year later, not even a year later. I went through probably 3 or 4 pads, and then I replaced the pads, and then it's going well. For like the 4th time, I probably replaced the pads. It's going well, and all of a sudden, I'm hitting start, machine shutting down. Okay, that's weird. Emergency stop. Oh, actually, at this point, I wasn't even doing the emergency stops. I was just hitting go. It would run for 1 second, and then it would just shut off and restart. And then, I would take the pad off, put it back on. I did all the stuff trying to troubleshoot it. No luck. So I contacted the company, and they are pretty cool. They won't talk to you on the phone, which is kind of annoying. But they do answer their email pretty fast, and they seem to be pretty nice people. So I will say that. So basically, I'm like, hey, my machine's shutting off. And they're like, oh, just send it in. And we can repair it for free. It's been less than a year. You're still in warranty. Okay, cool. Let's do it. So I send it in. They say, hey, your internal power supply has failed. We're going to replace it with an external unit, and it'll be free of charge. Cool. And then I get another email. We fixed your machine, but we realize you did not send the machine in the original box. I go, okay. And they're like, well, and they probably said this before, or it probably says this somewhere in your warranty, but I just overlooked it. Or no, actually, I remember I couldn't find the original box. I do remember this now. I couldn't find the original box for the life of me. So I'm like, whatever, who cares? Let's just send it in any box. But I didn't know it had to do with the warranty at all. So they get it, and they're like, hey, we have to charge you, I think it was like $60 for the original box. And I'm like, oh, that sucks. But whatever, my machine's fixed. Here's your $60. And they sent it back, and it worked. and so I had to put the new next pad on. So it was fine, that whole pad, you know, 500 minutes or 1,000 minutes, whatever it is. And then I go to replace the pad again, and oh, same issue. But now it's saying emergency stop instead of just shutting off like that. So I write them again, hey, it's doing emergency stop. And then they tell me, oh, our new pads are having an issue, blah, 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 blah. Take your guard off. He instructed me how to do it. It was very simple. Take the guard off and try it then. I take the guard off, and now it's working. It's working very well. So I go through several pads again, and then now it's doing the same thing that it originally did. No emergency stop, just shut off, just shut off, shut off, shut off. And I'm like, what is going on with this thing? So I'm writing them more, writing the company more, and they probably hate me at this point. And I'm like, look, you know, I'm trying to run a business here. This machine is getting rather annoying. Like, what is the deal with this thing? Like, why am I having so many issues? And, you know, they were nice, and he told me to try to clean the micro switch. There's a little micro switch in the door when it closes that registers that the door is closed. He said, try to clean that. Maybe it's thinking that the door is open. So I open it, I clean the micro switch, and I always clean my machines. After like a couple pads, I'll always make sure to clean everything out and make sure it's really clean. I clean the switch, and yeah, now it is working good. But yeah, just long story short, these machines can be annoying. At least the ones that I've had, I've always had to do maintenance to them, and it's always just annoying. Yeah, and that's basically where I'm at with it. I almost bought an ELM AutoSmart, the Hybrid 2.0 or whatever it's called. Or no, the Hybrid 2.0 I think is one of Venmill's machines. I don't know. I'll put a picture of it at some point, and that was the one I was trying to buy. The machine I was trying to buy was called the ELM Eco Pro 2. I remember now. Machine, as I was trying to buy one on eBay, and I decided against it because it was used. I think I'm kind of like not really sure what to do right now, because this machine, it's working well right now, and I'm just gonna keep using it, I think, until, because I do like the results. It does resurface. It resurfaces very well. It fixes a lot of games, and the games that are already working, I just want them to look a little nicer. It does really greatly improve them. It doesn't leave swirl marks, which I really like. But eventually, I think I may upgrade to the ELM machine, and if I do, I will make a video about that. But yeah, anyway, that is this video. I just wanted to talk about the struggle of buying a resurfacer and trying to maintain them and keep them running, because you need to resurface discs, and when they're not working, it's very annoying. And every time I had to send my machine, and it was just like, you know, it was weeks and weeks without it. It was so annoying. I would just build up this huge pile of discs that I had to do, and then when I got back, it was just like sitting there just doing discs over and over and over. But yeah, anyway, that's the video. If you made it this far, I appreciate you listening to me ramble about resurfacers. But yeah, anyway, have a great rest of your day, and yeah, I hope you have better luck with this than I do. But yeah, anyway, bye.